All right. Hopefully we're activated now. We can have a conversation. Maybe it's still going. Maybe it isn't. The data's pretty good today. So what's the topic? Well, it's Freedom Phil. And I want to talk about a modern opportunity. I'm not selling you anything that I think a lot of people have missed. And maybe there's more than nothing at where you're at. But maybe you're in a place where they do need these people. Because as I'm looking for a property manager, and no, I'm not looking for you, random person on the internet, but I'm looking over around my local area. I realize there's a lack of people that are basic handymen and accountants that can do this job. Where am I going with this? Well, I'm going to explain part of the reason there's a lack of rentals. Maybe if there are empty houses, that's part of the reason. I'm going to explain some of the problems. And when you're dealing with bad customer service, robotic bad customer service. Yeah. So this is Freedom Phil. Let's get into it. And hey, like and subscribe. Always turn up the video speed. Why? Because you should be watching this at least at 150 to 1.75. I am just recording this right now, and I appreciate anybody that subs. But yeah, let's get into it. Everybody always says what type of job opportunities in America, and I have found that there is a lack in a lot of places of actual good property managers. There's a lack of people that know how to do basic handyman stuff. I'm not talking heavy stuff where you would obviously hire like the electrician or the plumber, because once a house is a vacation rental or a long-term, you can basically turn it into a tax deduction. You don't want to have too many tax deductions, but somebody that can go through, make sure that the checks have been paid, the rent has been paid, someone that can handle the evictions and make sure that all the basic things of the utilities and whatnot are in their name, not the owner's name. And why is that? Well, because the thing that you're really going for by paying that percentage to somebody else is that they do the work that you don't want to do. And that's part of it. I've had this house for a near eternity now. Come December, it'll be 20 years. And to tell you the truth, I've lived in it maybe 2 years of that 20 years, off and on, here and there. The first year I lived in it when I was living here. And then I went out and traveled, and I was working and paying bills, and I paid it off in record time. And I did trucking for a number of years, OTR, by the way. I love it. I'm looking forward to going back to it. And so I think to myself, part of the reason I even did this remodel, and by the way, I would recommend never doing a remodel in the modern era unless you can do every single thing yourself, which is exactly what me and my brother-in-law ended up doing. You get to a situation where effectively it costs you more time and money and effort than it's truly worth. If you're just looking for a place to live, just go buy a good used house in the Midwest and just take care of it. Get it for anywhere from like 30 to 80,000, maybe 150,000 if you want something really nice right after people pass on. Way better deal. But when you have a property and you want to turn it into a rental, I realize after dealing with family members that have vacation rentals, my standards for cleanliness and having the house in tip-top shape is way higher than I ever saw, or any of my friends saw. You remember some of the bungalows you rented as a young adult? You're 18 years old. I remember last time I rented something was before 9/11. I had to really think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, before 9/11, because I've been a drifter ever since then. And I've owned the house since '05. But it was a little one-room studio bungalow, little apartment, had a canopy, what do you call it, carport on the side. And, old plumbing, old stuff, total bachelor, flop shack. And it was only $300 a month with everything but utilities everything but electricity included. And I look at the standards that place was, and I was fine with that. And still, to tell you the truth, as kind of a nomadic drifter of sorts, I would still be fine with something like that, because from my perspective, it's really just a house is just a place to sleep, shit, and do some other things. So, and that's part of the reason I can do van life and be perfectly happy. So, I could be trucking or van life. I wake up in random locations, look at the beautiful sunset, sunrise, birds, animals, whatnot. Local antelope or deer walk by and make their little noises, because they're like, it's a little early in the season for a humie to be here. I can live in practically anything. It's almost like a challenge for me. But when it comes to a house, you put a lot of money and time into a house, then it comes down to, do you really want renters? Do you really want to deal with them? Do you have somebody that you can, a decent person? You think a lot of people you can trust. You really think that. But then you will find out quite quickly how swag a lot of your friends or family or anybody is. And, I swear to God, if we just brought over Singapore style caning, because people say, what are you talking about, violence? You goddamn right. Because most people cannot conceptualize 20 years in prison, but everybody understands an ass whooping, and goddamn, Singapore got that one right. So coming into it, you would think in a world where there's people who have extra homes, vacation, there'd be more property managers. But no, it's like, because, and let's be honest, part of the reason that this is the way it is, we had a whole generation of boomers telling the millennials, and then the Zoomers aren't really fully activated yet, but they seem to be going in a slightly better direction. You don't want to learn to be a plumber. You don't want to be an electrician. HVAC. You don't want to be a handyman. You pay people to do that. Well, guess what? We're now in the world where I'm looking to pay somebody to do it, and it turns out there's very few people who can do it. I wish my brother-in-law was up here. My brother-in-law could build a house from the dirt to the sky. How do I know this? Because he showed me everything we needed to know to do this whole damn house, and it was all permitted, all perfectly. There are very few MacGyver individuals like my brother-in-law that exist. And that leads to an opportunity. If you've got a dad or an uncle that understands plumbing and electrician's work, if you've got one family member that can teach you one side, then go to school and learn the other side. And you could literally be flipping housing relatively easy. If you got a few family members, you can work together like the Amish do. I call it the Mexican Voltron. All the lions come together and form the superbot. And you got somebody who can teach you accounting, because you could learn plumbing and accounting. So you could know what to claim, what to do, how to do it. I'm telling you, there's a gold mine out there, because there are so few competent people these days that can do these basic things. If you happen to have family members that could do cleaning, you might even have a business with, doing real vacation rentals, like Airbnb or Vrbo. But it's getting to the point where if I don't like, I hate to say it, the feeling that I get from somebody I'm doing business with, like if their numbers don't crunch or their contract looks a little wonky, I'll just seal the fucking place up. I'll just winterize it. I mean, this house was empty for most of the last damn near 20 years. 18 years, maybe 17 to 18 years, this place has basically been empty because I had other stuff to do. But then when people say, well, there's a housing shortage, and part of it comes down to we lack competent people in America these days to do these essential jobs. We lack people that are, you find people, but then you find a lot of scam artists. And I'm going to give you an example. One of my family members has an absolutely immaculate, beautiful view down in Cabo. It's in walking distance of La Comer and all the other things, like you could just get on a bike and get whatever you need, whether it was electric e-bike or just a regular bike. You could literally hop a plane to the airport, then get the bus and be right there. The bus goes right by the main drag, the main highway there. And the beach, you drive, you don't have to drive. Well, you could drive the beach if you want to, but you can walk right down the hill from the condo, they have a pool, they have everything there, but you could walk there and then walk under the underpass where the Arroyo, how if any of you have been down there, they go down there and it's a kind of a place. And then you got the big parking, you got every Saturday and Sunday. Oh yeah, you see the Latinos that get out there with their big stereo. By the way, Americans, don't you tell me about your stereo systems. Go down to Cabo, go down to Arroyo. Look at those dudes. And it's not like rap music or nothing. It's straight up, it's mariachi music, and they're like, you're right there on the beach. Now you would think this is an immaculate place. This place should be rented out all the time. You know how hard it is down there? There's another opportunity. Are you an individual, by the way, Latinos? Like if you speak English and you have the same skills I was talking about earlier, you could make gold down there. There's a lot of places that you could, because you already know the game, you know the lingo, you know where to go to get the stuff. And that goes for anywhere in the country or the world where there's a business to be made of that. And the fact that we've told a lot of these young men, young women, you don't want to be this. You don't want to be a cleaner. Well, I can tell you, I know individuals who make like $400 a cleaning. Now, mind you, that cabin I'm talking about sleeps 20 people. But so you got a couple people working real hard. So in 4 hours, I mean, it's amazing. The family member that I know that actually does that She used to clean that whole cabin in 4 hours. One little skinny woman, you know, little fucking cleaning ninja, owns the cabin, does it all. But we're talking $400 or more to clean a cabin these days of that size. So don't give me this crap that there isn't, you know, oh, there's no money in that. There is tons of money in that. And the reason is everybody thinks they're above it. I'm better than this. I made lots of money being a garbage man because other people didn't want to be a garbage man. I made tons of money being a trucker because other people don't want to be truckers, but also because trucking is an apartment on wheels. Just like plumbers, just like electricians, just like welders and all that stuff. The things that we can't live without that people need done, that people don't want to do, there's opportunity there. And while you're at it, learn tax law, learn to be an accountant, and you can learn most of this crap while you're still in school. You're still in high school. So if they're going to waste 13 years of your youth, don't let it be wasted. Learn accounting and learn a trade. And if you happen to learn some computers too, all the better. Because then you can be the business owner. And while you're young, you could be someone that's doing the 1099 master, you know, superior race. Where, you know, instead of getting the W-2, you're learning to claim everything at a young age. And when you buy a vehicle, you're not just buying a vehicle to commute to work. You are buying a vehicle that's a business expense. Therefore, the government is paying you in the long term. You're claiming it on your taxes. When you go and buy some tools, a lawnmower, some tools to do plumbing, you're claiming that on your taxes. There's lots of opportunity. And the truth of it is, part of the problem for actually finding rentals for the average person is, frankly, you can't find property managers. And if you can't find people to do something that simple in a country full of how many millions of people, good luck finding fucking people to build houses. So there's money to be made for you if you want to make it out there. Don't let these people tell you the only way to get rich is go to college. College can be good, but something like 85% of college degrees are completely worthless. And I'm not kidding when I say that. 85%. Because it's just touchy-feely nonsense. You know, and it's like, we're always going to need a plumber. We're always going to need electricians. We're always going to need somebody to make sure that the houses still work. So, like I said, missed opportunity for a lot of people, property management. Peace.